Ted O'Brien is the Shadow Treasurer and joins us now. Ted, you took up being Shadow Treasurer later in life, I notice.
Yes, Craig. I'm not sure if that was a return to something I did in my childhood, though, but
No.
indeed I did.
A new approach. Now, what's your take on the RBA? Do you think they made the wrong decision?
Oh, look, I think it'd be very unwise for anyone in politics to be double-guessing the RBA. I think their independence has to be treated as sacrosanct. And I think if you listen to the Governor's explanation yesterday, I think it was very logical. It does mean, however, though, you've got millions of Australians who are going to continue doing it tough. I mean, if you take your average mortgage holder in Australia, they're paying around about $1,900 more every single month in additional interest payments. They've been doing that for the last couple of years.
1,900 compared to what?
Compared to what it was actually before Labor came in, and that's just a reflection of how interest rates have increased. And of course, that's not the only, paying for a household. As we all know, Craig, I mean, and your listeners too, you go to the shopping centre and everything's gone up. You pay your gas bill, your electricity bill. Both of those are over 30% up. Insurance up. So look, it's no surprise people are doing it tough. I think people were hoping that yesterday would at least see some relief for mortgage holders. Not to be the case, and I think what we should be doing is listening to the commentary from the Governor of the Reserve Bank.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because when you look at the commentary of the Governor yesterday, Michelle Bullock talked about the healthy job market. One of the factors that's been talked about as potentially keeping interest rates higher at the moment is the fact that our unemployment rate is remaining surprisingly low compared to what the RBA is expecting. You're not wanting to see the unemployment rate go up, are you?
No, definitely not. But if you listen to what the Governor also said, she expressed concern that wages growth, those in employment, wages growth is outpacing productivity. And so really the key issue, or one of the key issues that the economy has to address, and therefore really the government has to address, is productivity. And where we have seen employment growth over recent years, around about 80% of employment growth over the last 2 years has come from the non-market sector. In other words, it's government. Government is spending a lot. Now, this has also had the impact of driving up inflation. So if government spending is up by about 17% over the last couple of years, which it is, that is driving inflation. It's driving prices up. It's not helping with productivity.
When it comes
I think what we need to do over the coming years is we have to put productivity as a priority, so you see more growth in the private sector. And if that happens, then you start seeing more sustainable real wage increases over time. And again, the Governor sort of was referencing this yesterday.
I mean, you're on a kind of joint ticket there with the Treasurer himself, who said productivity is the main focus at the moment. You've accepted the Treasurer's invitation to go to the government's economic roundtable. What are the ideas you're taking there? What do you think we need to do to increase productivity?
Well, I think the priority of government has not been productivity.
So what would you do?
And therefore, I welcome the fact that the government is now starting to look at it, and I've taken the Treasurer at his word that he's actually going to take action. More specifically, to answer your question, Craig, I'm interested in seeing what is brought forward to drive three things. One, incentives. Incentives for the private sector, for businesses, for entrepreneurship, to basically have more investment, both domestically and internationally, coming into Australia. Secondly, capabilities. We need to ensure that we've got measures that grow not just human capital, but also technology and broader investments so that we can build our sovereign capability in Australia. And thirdly, flexibility. We've got to make sure that we are a nimble, agile economy. Now, at the moment, the only idea that is being brought forward, which relates to tax, which has been the centre of discussions over the last few weeks, has been Labor's plan to tax what's referred to as unrealised capital gains.
The
in
superannuation
super accounts.
changes.
And I think that goes against the productivity argument. Unfortunately, it limits flexibility. It's not incentivising anything.
So you're saying that giving a slightly higher tax rate to people who have over $3 million in super is limiting productivity? Come on, are you kidding me?
Oh, Craig, I'm not sure if you're aware of actually what it does then.
I'm aware of the unrealised. Look, I totally agree with you on the unrealised capital gains factor. It's a difficult decision on that front. But you're talking
Craig,
about
that's what I'm referring to.
You're talking, but have you got an alternative to that? Because the reality of this situation is at the moment, you say we're spending too much money, we need to cut it back. Tax cuts on super cost $50 billion in lost revenue every year. 2/3 of the total value of those super tax breaks go to the top 20% of income earners. Charging a slightly higher tax rate to the currently 80,000 people that have more than $3 million. Are you saying that that's an unacceptable step?
What I'm saying is, with all due respect, Craig, that is not what Labor is doing. So
what are they doing?
Even Paul Keating has come out on Labor's super tax. So if you are an average income earner in your 20s, so there you're not talking about fat tax.
Let
me finish.
No,
the point
Ted, because I know what you're going to say. Ted, I totally understand that if these laws don't change within the next 30 or 40 years, then an average person is going to get affected by it. But that would rely that you don't get back into Parliament and that no one changes it over the next 30 years. Let's talk about now.
Craig, can I make my point? I'm
yeah.
sorry, mate. So there's two things here, right? One, the government does not plan to index the threshold for a superannuation tax.
Yes.
Young people are going to be stung. It is not accurate to say only 80,000 people. We are talking about millions of Australians, and the responsible minister has conceded that.
That's if it doesn't change for 30 years, Ted.
Well, you don't set up any tax system, Craig, and say, you know what, we know it's bad.
Okay, so if it was indexed now, would you?
We just hope a future government might change it.
Okay, if it was indexed, would you support this then? If it was indexed, would you support this?
No, because of unrealised capital gains. And this is the second point. And this is what will have an immediate impact. And again, you've seen the startup sector come out on this. Let's not forget that it is millennials, it is Gen Zs who are really responsible for the bulk in, let's say, the retail sector of startups. Now, a lot of startups get their funding from self-managed super funds. Once you tax unrealised capital gains, in other words, someone makes an investment in a startup, the value of that startup goes up. There's no return yet for the investor, but the government's going to come after your money if you've invested. You've got to pay tax even though there's no return on your investment. What will happen is those investors, those self-managed super fund holders, will reallocate their money elsewhere. So that starts to dry up available funding for young people who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to start up a cafe. We need a country that's going for growth. And that's what the RBA governor was speaking about yesterday when she was even talking about what's happening with the cash rate. We need to encourage growth, entrepreneurship. We need to have people out there that have access to capital that will back them. But by introducing unrealised capital gains taxes, well, actually, you're going to see an immediate impact in Australia where available funds start getting diluted for young entrepreneurs. And this is, again, another reason why I'm so adamantly opposed to what Labor's doing here.
Yeah, right. Well, so we need subsidies for the very wealthy so that we can have paid by everybody else through super so that we can help entrepreneurs, apparently.
But they're not subsidies, Craig. I'm sorry, mate. That wasn't what I was saying with all due respect. We're talking about I'm against
every super tax is
unrealised capital gains tax.
No, I understand. I'm saying every super tax thing is a subsidy. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate you talking to us.
No,
and it's an ongoing issue.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Have a great day.